Okay, I'd like to welcome to you all in today's virtual class. Okay, we are doing uh, about language and linguistics. Okay, there is major specialization. First, English ENCPD 416 is the core for this subject. Okay, and let's say today I'd like to go to the new chapter. Okay, that is the fourth dichotomy between in language and linguistics. The fourth dichotomy in our list is speech and writing. Okay, speech and writing are regarded as the two different opposing views in language and linguistics. Okay, speech, as I told you before, speech is the spoken form of language, and writing is the what written form of language. Okay, speech and writing are the two different ways of expressing linguistic words. Okay, we express our news, we express our views on the basis of speech and writing. That's why speech and writing are the two different ways, two different approaches to deliver language. Okay, there is in speech and writing. Okay, let's say we'll do about the relationship between speech and writing. Okay, what kind of relationship is there between speech and writing, and why is speech primary to writing, and why is writing the imperfect imitation of speech. Okay, these ideas we'll discuss here in the dichotomy, in the opposing view, speech and writing. Okay, so now I'd like you to be ready to learn the thing. Okay, so speech and writing are the two different ways of expressing linguistic words. Okay, we regard English speech and writing as the two different ways, the two different means of two different, let's say, modes of expressing our words. Okay, we express our words, we express our views by using speech and writing. Okay, now that is to say they are the two manifestations of language. Okay, we have two manifestations of language, or we have two different forms of language. These two different forms of language or two different manifestations of language are speech and writing. Okay, speech and writing are regarded as the two different manifestations of language. Language can be used by two different ways. One is by speech, another is by writing. Okay, one is by speaking, another is by writing. Okay, that's why these are the two different manifestations of language. Okay, and now speech is, as I told you before, speech is the spoken form of language which is audible. Okay, that is, I am here speaking and you are listening. Audible means that you are listening to. Okay, there is a speech is the spoken form of language which is audible, and writing is the written form of language which is visible. Okay, that is whatever you have seen in the screen is the written form of communication, and whatever you have heard from what I speak, that is what that is the spoken form, and that is speech. Okay, we have here in our virtual class, we have both modes of communication has been used. Okay, they are the two different ways of communicating our ideas. Okay, that is we are speaking, and you are also let's say reading with the text given. That reading with the text given is what is writing. Okay, you have let's say seen the written form of communication there. Okay, and then I'm here speaking, and which is audible to you, and you are getting something from my speech as well. Okay, that's why speech and writing are the two different modes of communication. Okay, modes of communication, two different forms of language. So speech is the spoken form of language which is audible, and writing is the written form of language which is visible. Okay, clear? And next one, that is in modern linguistics. in modern linguistics, spoken form is regarded as primary and the writing or written form is regarded as secondary. Okay, that is, in modern linguistics, what happens is that spoken form is regarded as primary. In let's say traditional grammar, in traditional linguistics, written form was regarded primary. Okay, much more focus was given to written form. Now in modern linguistics, spoken form is regarded primary. It is primary because when a baby is born, first of all, he learns speaking, not writing first. That's why speaking is, or let's say the speech is primary to writing. Okay, writing. That's why speech is regarded as primary manifestation of language, and writing is regarded as the secondary manifestation of language. Okay, in this way, you have to define speech and writing. Now, let's say in other words, what we can say is that speech is considered as primary manifestation to writing, and writing is the imperfect imitation of what we speak. Okay, that is, speech is considered as primary manifestation to writing. Okay, because speech is primary. Okay, that is where whatever we speak, we write the same in a bit different way. That's why it is imperfect imitation of what we speak. We don't write what we exactly or how we exactly speak. Okay, it is imperfect imitation of what we speak. Okay, for example, in Nepali, we say ako, okay, gako type of language, but when we write actually aeko, gaeko, okay, in this way. Okay, this is known as imperfect imitation of what we speak. Okay, we may speak out in one way, but we may write the same thing in a different way. That's why speech is considered as primary manifestation to writing, and writing is also known as writing is the imperfect imitation of what we speak. Okay? In this way, we have the concept of speech and writing. And the next thing is that in traditional grammar, okay, what was regarded as that is written form of language was much more focused than the spoken form. Okay? At that time, in traditional grammar, okay, in ancient time, okay, in let's say earlier time, the written form of language was much more focused. Okay? They focused on written language only. Okay? Mastery over the language was to mastery over the written form only. Okay? But this actually has ignored the primary aspect of language. Okay, there is the spoken form is the primary form of language, and written form is the secondary form of language. That's why they focused on secondary form of language rather than the primary form. Okay, so written form of language was much more practiced, much more focused. It was much more practiced in traditional grammar. Okay, and spoken form was neglected. Okay, so and writing was considered as the standard form of language at that time. Okay, writing was considered as the standard form of language. It is the standard form of language, but it is not the primary form of language. Okay, writing is not the primary form of language. The primary form of language is spoken language, spoken form. So we have to focus on language is to communicate. Language is for speaking. Okay, must, because we anybody in the world, okay, if he or she is physically or mentally well, because he or she can speak language, but there are not so many people who can write. Okay, without writing, language is possible. Okay, language is also possible. Okay, but speech is the primary, let's say, form of let's say communication. Okay, communication. So we have to focus on the spoken form of language rather than the written form of language. Okay, that in traditional grammar, written form of language was let's say much more focused, much more practiced than the spoken form of language. Okay, but we in modern time, okay, we focus on spoken language master rather than the written language. Okay. Now, so in the past, the primary form of language, that is spoken language, was completely ignored. Okay, language was to produce visual marks on paper at that time. Okay, the primary objective of teaching language was to put their view on paper. That's why in the past, the primary form of language, spoken language, was completely ignored. They focused on what? They focused on written language. Okay, that is language um, was taught. Okay, only to write, not to speak. Okay, so there was the focus on written language, and the primary form of language, that is spoken language, was completely ignored. They neglected the primary form of language, using the primary form of language. Okay, and they considered written form of language as the pure form of language. Okay? At that time, they considered in the past, they considered the grammarians at that time, they consider written form of language as the pure form of language. Okay, that is, they did not focus on the spoken form of language. Okay, who can write? The people who can write well were awarded, let's say, good marks only. Okay, only the written test were held at that time. Okay, that's why nowadays we also let's say hold what spoken, let's say, or let's say listening and speaking classes were also held these days. Okay, are held these days. Okay, so that is, they consider written form of language as the pure form of language. And now, see, from here, do you have any question from here? Okay, are you clear about the speech and writing? Okay, speech and writing, they are the two different manifestations of language. One is primary and another is secondary. Which one is primary? The speech is primary and writing is what?
Writing is secondary.
Okay, writing is secondary. Okay, it is secondary. It is secondary. Why is speech primary? Because we speak before we write. A child speaks before he or she starts writing. Okay, that's why speech is regarded as a primary manifestation to writing. Writing is the imperfect imitation of what we speak. Okay, writing is secondary. It is because we, after started speaking, we start what? Writing. Okay, that's why writing is regarded as the secondary manifestation to language. Okay, in this way. Now you can copy out the possible questions here. Okay, possible questions. Some possible questions I like to give here. Okay, from speech and writing. Okay, possible question. Let's say the spoken form of language is considered primary and the written form secondary. Elucidate. Now you have to copy out. Did you copy out all the points here in speech and writing? Did you finish copying them?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Now let's move to the possible questions. Okay, the question may ask differently. The first one is, okay, the spoken form of language is considered primary and the written form secondary. Elucidate. Okay, you have to explain why is the spoken form of language considered primary and the written form of language as secondary. Okay, you have to explain the issue statement. You have to copy them. Copy the question. Okay. The next question, that is, what are the supporting points that speech is primary to writing? Okay, what are the supporting points? That speech is primary to writing. You have to sort out the supporting points here. Why is speech primary to writing? Okay, you have to give examples. Okay, from you can consult a book, you can consult, let's say, Google, okay, or you can get the points from, let's say, anywhere you like. You can also think yourself and write what are the supporting points so that speech is primary to um, writing. Okay, speech is primary to writing. We let's express it. We said this statement. Okay, but why is speech primary to writing? Okay, you have to give, let's say, plenty of supporting points under this statement. Speech is primary to writing. Okay, next one is sketch the differences between speech and writing. Okay, sketch the differences between speech and writing. Is what are the differences between speech and writing? That you have to write down the answer in your own way. Okay, by keeping in mind the things that I have given. Okay, you have to give your answer. You have to provide your answer. Okay, these three questions. Did you copy them out? Did you copy them?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Finished copying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Then I like to move to the next one. Okay. The next one. The next topic or next, let's say, subtitle. Okay. That is about orthographic writing and phonetic writing. Okay. Orthographic writing and phonetic writing. In earlier, let's say, point, we discussed about speech and writing. Okay, but here both are about writing. Okay, there are two different ways of expressing linguistic words through writing. Okay, by writing, we can, let's say, express our express our things in two different ways. One is by orthographically, another is by phonetically. Okay? Orthographic writing and phonetic writing are the two different ways of, let's say, writing. Okay, orthographic, as I told you before in my earlier classes as well, I told you about orthographic writing and phonetic writing. Okay, orthographic writing uses different alphabets. We frequently write what? Write orthographically. But phonetic writing is the, let's say, writing to our speech. Okay, whatever we speak is, let's say, written. How we speak is written phonetically by using different phonetic symbols or phonemes. Pa, ba, ta, da, ka, ga, a, e. Okay, these 44 phonemes are used, and we write what? We write phonetically. Okay, phonetically. So orthographic writing and phonetic writing are the two different ways of, let's say, writing. Okay. Now you have to write down orthographic writing and phonetic writing are the two different systems of writing. Okay, they are the two systems of writing, two different systems of writing. Okay, orthographic writing and phonetic writing are the two different systems of writing. Okay, orthographic writing consists of conventional letters or alphabets. We use conventional letters. Okay, the letters or alphabets. Okay, that let's say we use traditionally. Okay, the conventional letters, all the conventional letters or alphabets. There are how many? 26. Okay, 26 letters or alphabets are used in orthographic writing. Okay, orthographic writing or graphic substances. These are the what? These are the graphic substances. Graphic substances by which we write. Okay, and orthographic writing consists of conventional letters or alphabets which represent speech sounds. Okay, they finally represent what speech sounds. For example, we say cat, C-A-T, we write C-A-T. Okay, this is C-A-T is what orthographic writing. And phonetic writing consists of phonetic symbols to indicate sounds in written form. Okay, that is we use sounds when we, let's say, write sounds in written form. Then that is what that is known as phonetic writing. That's why phonetic writing and orthographic writing are the two different systems of writing. Okay, on orthographic writing uses alphabets, when what phonetic writing uses the phonemes or phonetic symbols, the 44 symbols that we did before in our physical class. Okay, these symbols are that's used in phonetic writing. Okay, I'll move forward. Okay, in orthographic writing, there may not be in orthographic writing. There may not be one-to-one relation between the letters and the sounds they represent, but phonetic writing has. Okay, in orthographic writing, there may not be one-to-one relation. There may not be one-to-one correspondence between the letters and the sounds they represent. Okay, there is no relationship. There cannot be any relationship between the letter and the sound they represent. Okay, there is, for example, I told you, okay, I gave you in my physical class as well about how the same letter is A. Okay, letter is, let's say, A, you can say A, okay, or A, B, C, D, okay, E, F, G, H, A, okay. But in CAT, you say what? You produce it as a, yeah, cat. Letter is C, A, T, but K, yeah, T. C is, this is orthographic writing is C. But its sound is what? The sound of C is K, cat. Okay, that is, she is, we write she orthographically, but that is produced as K. Okay, that's why there is no one-to-one relation. There is no one-to-one relation, okay, between the letters and the sounds they represent. But phonetic writing has. Okay, but phonetic writing has a one-to-one correspondence, one-to-one relationship between the sounds and the writing system. Okay, ka is ka in phonetic writing. Okay, pa is pa in phonetic writing. Ya is ya is phonetic writing. We say ya and we write ya. Okay, we say ya. We say C, but we write ka in cat. We write C, but we produce it as what? Ka, cat. But we write, we say, we produce ka and we write ka sound. Ka, yeah. We produce ya and we write what? We write ya there. Okay, ka, ya, da. Okay, in this way. Ka, I, na, da. Kind. Okay, kind. A kind. K-I-N-G, kind. Okay, ka, which is ka, I, na, da. Okay, but we write what? K, I, N, K, letter is what? K, but the sound is ka. No one-to-one relation. Okay, no one-to-one relation. P, orthographic writing. In orthographic writing, that is what P, but in phonetic symbol, in phonetic writing, that is what? Pa. P is pa. Okay, P is pa. P-E-N, pain, is P-E-N, pain. Pa. Okay, P, letter is P and the sound is what? Pa. Okay, in this way, we don't have any relationship between the letters and the sound that represent in orthographic writing, but phonetic writing has one-to-one correspondence. Okay, one-to-one correspondence. In this way, we find out the differences. Okay, and as I told you before, okay, it is not so much difficult in your part as well. That's orthographic writing and phonetic writing. Okay, we have that's frequently done about this in our physical classes as well. That is in English. How many? How many symbols in orthographic writing? 26 symbols. Okay, in English there are 26 symbols according to orthographic writing. In the writing system of orthography, we have got 26 symbols: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, S to J. Okay, or Z. Okay, up to let's say Z, we have 26 symbols. These 26 symbols are used to write orthographically. Okay, but 44 symbols in phonetic writing. Okay, there are how many? 44 symbols in phonetic writing. Out of these 44 symbols, we have 24 consonant symbols and 20 vowel symbols in English. Okay, 44 symbols. Out of these 44 symbols, we have 20 vowels and 24 consonants. These 20 vowels and 24 consonants are used while speaking. Okay, while speaking as well. And whatever we speak, we write the same in what? In phonetic writing. In this way, we show the difference between orthographic writing and phonetic writing. Clear? Are you clear or not? Is there any question? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It is not so much difficult. Okay, orthographic writing, orthography. We need our substance as well. In substance, form, substance, meaning, and function there as well. We also studied about what graphic substance and phonic substance. The phonic substance substances are they are what? They are the raw materials while speaking. And graphic substances are the substances that are used in writing. Okay, writing. The concept is more or less the same here: orthographic writing and phonetic writing. Okay, according to orthographic system, there are 26 symbols in English, and according to let's say phonetic system, there are 44 symbols in English. In English, okay. In other languages of the world, there might be more or less. Okay, so in this way, we do about the next dichotomy. That's why this orthographic writing and phonetic writing are also two different dichotomies of language, actually, of writing system. Okay, and this much. Our time is running out. Okay, okay, and tomorrow we'll do about narrow transcription and broad transcription, or broad transcription and narrow transcription. Sometimes it is known as phonetic transcription and phonemic transcription. In your course of study, it is written, it is given as, it is prescribed as narrow transcription and broad transcription. Okay, you'll see from somewhere about narrow transcription and broad transcription. And if you attend your class after seeing the topic at home earlier, then it becomes easier for you to understand. Okay. This much for today, and I'd like to stop my screen sharing here. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.